This is going to be a paper casted bowl. First, I'm going to take a small bowl that I just got out of my kitchen. Then the next step is going to be taking some Pam spray, and I sprayed it on here. And I don't have to spray a lot, and then I just take my fingers and just kind of wipe it around the bowl just to cover it and make it so that it's a nice release agent. This is my paper pulp that I've put through the blender. I've shredded it, and I have drained some of the water out of it. It still has water in it. As you can see, I can squeeze it, and I still have lots of water. It's kind of like a dried oatmeal consistency. Okay, so it's still wet, but not completely dry, but still wet. So what I'm going to do, and this is what I did for my other project, is I just take some out, squeeze a little bit of water out, and I just start applying it around. And you're just going to keep doing this until you get your bowl covered, and then you're just going to let it dry. So take that paper towel, just soak up some of that water there. So you want it to still be wet when you're putting it on, because you want the fibers to bond back together with each other. When paper pulp is wet, the fibers are separated, and when they dry is when the fibers bond back together. And that is how you get shapes formed. Now, this is just a 90-degree angle, and I like to use it for two reasons. One, it's got a nice flat surface, so I can sit here and press down the bottom of my bowl to get a nice flat surface. And also because it's flexible, I can use it to scoop around the edges, bring in the pulp up to those edges of the bowl, and kind of making sure that I'm getting, oops, I pulled in my towel there, and that caused a problem. Getting a nice clean edge to my bowl. At least as long as I don't suck in my paper towel with me that's sitting over there. So I'm going to go back over that a little bit. Okay. Use that just to soak up some of the water. And then I got another paper towel, and I'm just going to lay it over here and just soak out some of the water. You don't have to do any pressure, you're just basically laying it right across the pulp itself. And there's a bunch of pulp over there. I'll pick that up, and I think I'm going to bring it right here. Just a matter of playing with it. I don't consider this to be a fast project, but I do consider it to be an easy project. But playing around with it a little bit, I think helps. Day 2, let's see if we can pick it up. Whoop. And I want to get rid of this. Scrape that to the side. I'm going to set that down just like that. And what I'm going to try to do right now is just make sure that nothing is going to dry over that ledge. And by ledge, I mean the end of the bowl here, because that's what's going to stick when I go to remove it. So all I'm doing is just gently pushing back any pulp that looks like it is over the edge of the top of the bowl. Okay, and then I'm going to have to let this dry a little bit before I try and remove it, but it's doing good. Once your bowl has completely dried, you'll notice there's a big difference in the weight when you pick it up. So that will really help you know that it has dried. You want to make sure it is fully dry before you try to remove the bowl from your mold. Now, two things that I do is I usually take my knife and I just kind of slide it around that top edge to make sure that's released. Once I do that, I took this piece of paper, just a piece of cardstock paper, and I slid it going around the bowl like so to make sure that my edges were released. Then I held the bowl in one hand like this, and with this hand on the top, I just gave it a slight twist like so just to release that bottom. And once I did that, then I was able to pull my bowl out. Now, I did have a boo-boo when I pulled it out. I can see I've split the bowl right here, okay? But this is not a big deal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue. This happens to be Tacky Craft Glue by Helmer. And I'm just going to run it along that edge, just like so. And then I'm going to take my finger and I'm kind of holding the bowl separate using this finger here and my thumb, and I've got it pinched behind, and I'm just kind of separating the bowl. If you can see how it's kind of moving there, so I'm kind of pulling those edges apart. I'm pushing the glue in between those edges, and now I'm going to push the edges back together and re-glue that, and then just seal that with my finger like so. And you can do that on the inside. But the way I'm going to finish this bowl off, you're never going to even know that that was cracked like that. Okay, so we'll let that dry a little bit, which doesn't take much, because the craft glue really holds it together well. And then the next thing that I'm going to do, and oh yeah, by the way, I don't ever let things like that stop me. I mean, it's going to be fine when it's finished. So, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some golden gel medium. And I have just a soft brush, wide brush, and I want to do the outside. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to hold it like so, and there's where I just glued that crack together. You see it's holding together nicely. And we're going to further seal that. And this will also make your paper a little stronger. And this is soft gel. So I just like how that looks. I don't think it really matters what kind of gel you use. I don't really know because I haven't had that much opportunity to play with different mediums as far as sealing the paper. But so far I like the soft gels the best. And I'm just going to work my way around just like so. I coated the sides and the base. What I want to do now is I'm going to take some of my gel medium and I'm just going to add an extra little bit around the lip because that is the thinnest part of my bowl and I want to reinforce that. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'll let that dry and then we'll collage the inside. Okay, now the outside is dry. I'm going to work on the inside, and I'm going to use this napkin to cover the inside with. And when you're collaging napkins, you want to remove the top layer from the white layer. So you just pull that apart like so. And of course, I'm going to keep this for paper making. I'm going to make some paper out of that. So, now you can tell that is too big, no problem, because what you're going to do is cut and remove the insides. You'll see me do that in a minute. And then I'm going to finish up with some fiber trim that I'm going to add to the outside edge. Sometimes we're not the best collagers. I know I'm not, but I do know little tricks to make it look like I did a really good collage job. So, right here, I tore the leaf when I was pressing it into the bottom of the bowl. You can see that little mark there, and I'm going to show you a close-up picture of it so you can see it even better. What I do is I take my leftover tissue and I cut out leaves to cover up any mistakes. So if you have a bad wrinkle or you have a bad place, you can fix it. So I'll take a little bit of my collage paste and I just go right over that section. And I want to take a second just to also point out that it's better to let your bowl dry sometimes, or your papers dry sometimes, and then come back and fix mistakes. And I'm going to take this leaf and I'm just going to lay it right. Make sure I get the leaf going the right way. Yep, veins are going the right way. And then take your finger and just move it around a little bit so that it matches up. Now, it doesn't really have to be perfect, to be honest with you, because those mistakes really won't show, and because of this pattern here, the leaves are overlapping each other anyway, so you really can't tell. Anyway, that fixes that mistake there. Now I had another mistake, which is, see, it gets hard to tell sometimes. Oh, I was patching up this maple leaf here, and I did not have enough of the leaf to be able to do like I wanted to do, so I'm just going to overlap another leaf. So I'll take this one and just overlap that end. I'm going to leave enough hanging off, stuck to my finger. I'm going to leave enough hanging off I can just trim off what I don't need. Sometimes it's better to have too much than not enough. So I'm just going to put some more paste here. Take my leaf. I'm just going to drape this edge over to cover that mistake. Again, just pat. I'll take a little bit of the extra paste here and go over any edges, and that really seals those edges down. And of course I'm going to be covering the whole bowl again once it's complete. And I'm just bending my paper over the edge there just so I get an idea. But see, now that is fixed. You would never know that that didn't have a finished leaf area. So I go back through and I correct that way. Now, another thing that I do to finish is I'm going to trim the edges of my paper around my bowl, and at this point, even if I cut into the bowl itself, it's okay because my edges of my bowl probably aren't the straightest, So this kind of helps even that up too. So I don't mind getting right in there and cutting some of the edges of that bowl. Now I'm not going to cut the leaf that I just did because I don't want my scissors to get messed up. And then you can also take your paper, your bowl here, and bend your edges over just a little bit. It's a minute detail, but I think it gives it a nice finished look to the bowl. Because the collage paste soaks into the paper, your paper is a little damp. But because you have put the paste on the outside, the gel paste on the outside, you have a nice firm shape, but it's just a little malleable that you can maneuver and alter your edges a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't try to change the whole shape of the bowl, but just pinching those edges and pressing down gives them a little bit of a flare. And you can go back and check and make sure, like right there, see, I can see a little bit of my edge of the paper hanging over. So I'm just going to take my scissors and trim over. And hopefully when I add my trim to it, any other edges that are not even or paper's not completely flush when I cut it won't show when I add the trim. So all I got to do is let this right here dry, and again, so I just kind of bend that edge over. And all that does right there is it just, when you're looking down into the bowl, you don't see the top of your paper out here. It just gives you a nice finished edge to it. But now I think everything is fixed, I believe. If I find any other areas or leaves that need to be cut, I can just come back and add those on there, but I think I'm happy enough. Well, you know, I could just add one leaf on top of that just to get that wrinkle out of there.